Hi, recently we had a meet. It was attended by our group of qualified personal finance professionals, fund managers, and equity analysts. We were discussing about ways and means of improving market returns and savings returns. One question came up from the investor side, which is a common question. All of us are people who have our skin in the game because we participate in trading process, we participate in investments also. So the common question was, how do we get better returns for the hard-earned money that we have? The unanimous opinion from the professionals was park it in good mutual funds if it is for a family financial goal. Alternatively, if you have excess money beyond this, park it in equity, direct equity. We thought we were only professionals, we were giving this opinion. Apparently, we found out that an industry veteran who has his skin in the game, Mr. Ramdev Agarwal, has also confirmed this. KCAN's Wellspikes presents. Don't bet against India. Sensex may hit 2 lakh in 10 years. We are not here to predict something. Prediction is dangerous, especially of the future, but we have enough data pointers to support whatever we are trying to convey. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is a lamp of experience. I know of no way to judge the future but by the past. Patrick Henry said this. India, reviewing the last 10 years. If you look at, the market has delivered modest returns in the last 10 years. From March 11, 2011, if you see, till 21, we have delivered from 19,445 to 49,509. 10% CAGR BSE Sensex has delivered. This apart from the crisis that we faced like demonetization, ILFS fiasco, and COVID wave 1 that we saw. In spite of all this, we have got a 10% CAGR. India's growth better than world but not China. If you look at the data, world has grown at 2%. India is much better off at 4%. We are much better off than many global economies. China is at 10%, has gone from 6 trillion to 13.2 trillion. Exponential growth you can see between 2016 and 19. Please make a note of this, I will tell you why. For India, if you see, it went up from 1.7 trillion to 2.6 trillion. Long runway ahead for India. Here we are trying to compare India versus China GDP in trillion. Dollars it's given. If you see the chart, we are in 2006, whatever you see here, this is where India is today. What you see for 2006 in China. Okay, that is where our growth story is going to start. India is today where China was in 2006. From 2006 to 2020, China's GDP CAGR, compound annual growth rate, is a robust 12%. The same thing is going to happen for India also. Let's see more data pointers. India, the next $1 trillion opportunity. Where are we heading? India is the ultimate NTD story. Enough data to support this again. To hit the first US trillion, it took 58 years for us. We were able to touch in 2008. And then from there, we took 7 more years to touch the second US trillion, which we did in 2015. And then from there, it took 8 more years for us to touch the third US trillion, which is going to happen, rather which will happen by 2023. So, between the second trillion and the third trillion, we are taking around 8 years time. This is due to economic reasons like demonetization, etc. And here you can see the fourth trillion happening within 3 years. Again, the fifth trillion happening within 3 years, respectively by 2026 and 2029. 60 years of first $1 trillion of GDP. Every next $1 trillion is successively, in a few years time, it has happened. So, if you see the chart, from 2021, what is the kind of growth estimate they have given till 2029? Continuous exponential growth you can see. This will again happen due to many data pointers. We will see more. Linear growth, exponential opportunity. We are shown here. Tripling of per capita GDP implies 10x opportunity. What is this we are talking about? In this 5 trillion story, GDP doubles or even triples, gives 10x opportunity. Basic spend expected to go up from $600 to $750. Discretionary spend expected to go from $100 to $1,050. 10x growth, kindly make a note. Savings expected to go up from $300 to $1,200. 4x growth, kindly make a note. Imagine the cumulative wealth effect, massive. Next. Can India be the next China? Most indicators are favoring us in this journey. Number 1, democracy. US and Europe countries, advanced countries, generally have this tendency to import cheap goods. The story started in Japan in 60s and 70s, and then it was followed by Korea, and then they identified Hong Kong, and then China came up by 80s and 90s, and now China is too big. China has grown too much, and now they are looking for the next option. India is the next option. Why? India is the largest democracy in the world. Rule of law prevails. Well-established federal structure, central-state relations continuously improving. We are seeing a stable government now, moving forward towards a one nation idea, one unified market, one income tax. We are already seeing this. One GST already implemented, one Aadhaar already in place, one ration card moving towards it, one mobile number and one bank account. Going further, demography. We have the second highest population in the world, 139 crore population, with the highest domestic consumption. So, domestic consumption will rule, apart from other supporting factors that we have. Dominated by youth, 40% below 20, 85% below 50. Apart from this, demography, middle class, burgeoning. You can see the complete chart. You can see the top 2 layers. Let us take, for example, the upper middle class. 16 million was at 7% in 2005. Then in the year 2018, the upper middle class came up to 61 million, contributing 21%. Then, as per the forecast, by 2030, the upper middle class will be 168 million, contributing to 44%. You can look at the other data pointers also for lower mid and low class also. Plus on top of it, you can see the higher class also. So, in total, evolution of the household income profile in India, if you see, high income and upper middle income segment will be growing exponentially. 1 in 4 households today, currently, will become 1 in 2 households by 2030. Apart from this, we will also see 70 million fewer low-income households by 2030. What will happen when all these things happen to the economy? We have a long way, that is a long runway of high demand for goods and services. Here the emphasis is for the local consumption. Next, we'll go further. Digitization, yet another major development happening, supported by local innovation by software companies with machine learning, artificial intelligence, etc., with a lot of software research and development happening within the country. India's global reputation built on the back of software exports. Apart from India's domestic digitization, internet and mobile comparable with the best in the world. You can see the data. We are seeing a 21% CAGR growth in software exports alone. Right from 2001, if you see, till 2020, you can see the growth. Consistent growth, consistent performance. Over 120 crore telecom subscribers, equal number of mobile phones. Over 45 crore smartphones. Over 56 crore internet users. We are second to China. Dollar inflows and forex reserves. You can see here, forex reserves from less than 5 billion. How did it reach 590 billion now? From 91 to 2020 now. It's primarily due to software exports, remittances, FDI, and softening oil prices that we had. This alone, for an ordinary poor economy like India, has contributed $590 billion. It's not a small achievement. It's a wonderful achievement. We can see both the charts on the left and on the right, the forex built up. 17% CAGR we have grown on forex alone. Declining interest rates and inflation. If you look at the 10-year data, interest rates and inflation has almost come down to half. Inflation is fairly low. However, it may not be as per the expected standards, but still we are on the lower side. Consumer price index inflation is also given on the right. You can see the chart as well. Declining crude eased the current account deficit. Crude oil price plus software exports contributed heavily. Crude is down 50% from its peak levels, significantly easing our current account deficit. Both the charts are there to establish the same. The added advantage that we have is we are having a very stable government in place for the second term. And here we are continuing with the growth story again due to the government inputs. Disinvestment is on top gear. Last budget that we saw gave a major emphasis on this. Government has decided that they don't have any business in businesses. Make business the business of India. Aggressively diverse PSU holdings, which has already happened, which is again happening now, which will happen on a bigger scale. Minimum government, maximum governance. All blockades should be cleared, like a single window access or whatever, which is coming up again. Focus should be on creating jobs, already happening. Kickstart growth, accelerated investment in economic and social infrastructure. Social infrastructure, we are already seeing major development happening in roads and infrastructure. For example, Next. COVID is just a temporary blip. It's just a beginning of the end. We'll see why. COVID is now a known beast. When COVID wave 1 came, the government didn't know how to handle. The medical fraternity didn't know what to do and how to treat. The corporate sector didn't know how to react to this kind of condition. It is a chaos kind of scenario. But now we have crossed all that and we have come to the second wave, so we know how to handle COVID now. And the global fiscal and monetary response, global clues are much better. In terms of COVID wave 2, when other countries saw, even they were able to manage it well while compared to wave 1. And so global economies didn't have a major impact due to COVID wave 2. Again, in India, if you see, fiscal deficit of 9.5% was there, and RBI also ensured that enough sufficient liquidity is there in the market with so many inputs given. Vaccination drive is happening on a very large scale, which is now beginning of the end of COVID. This K-shaped recovery is happening in the economy, which says K-shaped recovery occurs when a dip happens in the market like COVID. Different parts of the economy recover at different rates, times, or magnitudes. This is in contrast to an even uniform recovery across sectors and industries. For example, many of these people wanted to go on a holiday, they were not able to go on a holiday due to the lockdown. And they were scared of COVID and they stayed in. These people who are not able to go on a holiday, now when the economy is opened up, they'll all go on a holiday. Example 1. Next example, people who want to buy automobiles, like cars and bikes, didn't come out due to the lockdown. They'll all come out and buy now once when the economy is now opened up, once one lockdown is lifted. So it's only demand which has been postponed in many of the sectors. We will see further. Large businesses will recover faster. We'll also see why. Sensex can hit 2 lakh in 10 years. The required CAGR is just 15%. Expected earnings growth to revive. What is going to happen? On the left you can see from 2001 to 2008 we saw a 17% CAGR, and we saw from 2009 to 20 6% CAGR. But now, due to this COVID demand, wherein it is many of these economic activities got postponed, from 21 to 23 you can see a 26% CAGR between FY 20 to 22. That's a major emphasis here for the chart on the left. How this 2 lakhs can happen? 12 to 13% nominal GDP growth. That's one. 7 to 8% real plus 4 to 5% inflation. Especially on this point between real and inflation, we have already made a data and we have already made some analysis on this. We have already done a detailed video on this, how this real and inflation can affect your savings and investments. Under the heading 7 costly mistakes what investors usually do. With this heading, we have already given this link in the description. Kindly see the video, you will know much more. Apart from that, corporate profit growth to be slightly higher than GDP growth. That is at 15% CAGR. This is yet another good point. Market growth is again broadly going to be in line with corporate profit growth, almost on similar numbers. 15% CAGR in 10 years is 4x. So this 4x will come to 2 lakhs. This is how we are targeting this 2 lakhs. Sectors to watch out, go for value migration and open up place. What will happen here? We can see further. What is value migration? That is value of profits and market cap, especially with technology. migrates from outmoded business design to superior business design. This is what we have seen. This has happened in many sectors. Especially we have seen this happening in telecom, in IT, in banks, especially in private sector banks with a lot of fintech innovations happening now. Many businesses have grown. That is from unorganized to organized sector. What are these developments that we have seen in the unorganized sector? We'll just see a couple of examples. We didn't even dream of a company called Urban Company, wherein they were offering multi-trained service people. A few years back, this was not even thought of, but we are seeing now. Dunzo Delivery Boys. Earlier it was an unorganized segment. Now it's an organized segment with a brand called Dunzo. Like this, we are seeing so many transformations happening from the unorganized to the organized sector. All these things we didn't even dream of a few years back. So, value migration creates massive opportunity for sectors which see value inflow. Let's see further. IT, especially. What are we seeing here? India has a global competitive advantage. Long digitalization runway ahead. Proved with data, you can see the kind of IT sector performance what you are seeing, especially from 2000 to 2020. We are touching 1,800 crores. What kind of growth that we have seen? This is the data what you are seeing on the left. On the right, you can see IT share of India, Indian Incorporate, in PAT and market cap, especially 0.5% in 1995. It has come up to 2020 with 27%. What kind of growth? Just see. Private banking, yet another area where we have seen massive value migration story. On the left, you can see the banking sector contribution between private sector and public sector. What you see in green is actually private sector. What you see in brown is public sector. You can see below all those red lines wherein public sector is losing its contribution and private sector is growing. The first slide on the left. Now come to the second slide. You can see CAGR of private sector is 31%, whereas for public sector is only 15%. Public sector is clearly losing its sheen. Yet another good growth factor what we are seeing in private banking. This will sustain for a long time. That's good thing, advantage for us. Private life insurance, another sunrise industry. Here too, there's a value migration from public to private. Major activity happening. If you see 2020 data alone, on the right what you see, private life insurance company sector. Market cap alone, in INR, it has come to 1,50,611 crores. What kind of growth? Do you think that we would have seen this hardly around 15-20 years back? They were just coming in, they were just establishing their shop floor. I'm talking about private life insurance companies. How they have grown now, especially excellent contribution like good players like ICICI, HDFC, Max New York, all of them. We have seen them growing. Open up place. Sectors can be classified based on two types of demand. Last demand and postponed demand. Postponed demand, we already saw a couple of examples. Given COVID, market has hampered both sectors equally. Post open up sectors with postponed demand should surge and will surge. Positive for sectors like auto examples we already saw. Similarly for consumer durables, people who want to buy fridge, washing machine, etc. for their household didn't buy due to COVID, they will again come back and buy. Similarly, painting activity which has stopped due to COVID will again happen. Selective industrials like, for example, specialty chemicals, etc. we'll be seeing major boom happening. Conclusions. India is the ultimate next $1 trillion opportunity, adding $1 trillion of GDP in successfully shorter periods. Key indicators are favorable: democracy, demography, digitization, dollar reserves, stable government. COVID is only a temporary blip. Vaccination marks the beginning of the end. We are seeing already massive vaccination happening throughout the country. Sensex can hit 2 lakh in 10 years. The CAGR required is hardly just 15%, which is easily possible with the kind of data that we have seen now. Play value migration and open up place, especially will happen and will continue to happen in IT, private banks, life insurance, auto, consumer durables, paints, select industries that we saw already. Don't bet against India. Be optimistic and patient. We are going to have a booming economy in the next 10 years. So what you can do? You can continue with your happy journey of wealth creation. What we suggest you: Wealth Spikes Advocates. Achieve your family financial goals like retirement fund, education or marriage fund for your children, and household purchase with strategic mutual funds. Invest excess money in good quality stocks. Learn trading and investing through a world-class trading system. If you have any queries on this, you are most welcome to get in touch with us. You can connect, you can send us a WhatsApp message to 917694089. Thank you so much for staying back. Bye-bye. Thank you.